There are moments when we think a story has ended. The headlines fade, social media moves on, and the world turns its attention to the next trending topic. But then, from the silence, a new voice rises. A voice that disrupts the narrative, unsettles the powerful, and pulls back the curtain on a truth that many hoped would stay buried. This week, that voice comes from an unexpected place. Not from Cassie Ventura, whose allegations against Sean Diddy Combs shook the world and led to a fast, multi-million-dollar settlement in 2023. No, this time, the voice is male, a former escort, and his claims, they're not just disturbing, they're devastating. According to a newly filed civil lawsuit, he alleges he was drugged, exploited, trafficked, infected with an STD, and coerced into terminating a pregnancy while being used for Diddy's private freak-off parties. And now, with court documents finally made public, the story is once again erupting into our collective consciousness, just weeks after Diddy's criminal trial ended in a shocking split verdict. But this episode isn't just about what happened. It's about what keeps happening, who's allowed to do it, and what it means for survivors of all genders in all power dynamics. This is not gossip. This is not tabloid drama. This is a deep exploration of pain, silence, and the systems that protect predators. And once again, we are forced to ask, when will it stop? Trigger warning. Before we go any further, please note that this episode contains strong and deeply sensitive content. We'll be discussing allegations of sexual assault, trafficking, drugging, coercion, non-consensual filming, and emotional abuse. These details may be triggering or emotionally overwhelming for some listeners, especially survivors of trauma or anyone currently navigating difficult relationship dynamics. I ask that you honor your nervous system and take breaks if you need to. This is not an episode for background noise or casual listening. This is sacred space. This is truth-telling. This is Life Points with Ronda. Welcome back, family. You're listening to Life Points with Ronda, and today's episode is available exclusively to you, my Patreon community, the listeners who are committed to hearing the deeper stories, the unfiltered truths, and the emotional complexity that gets lost in mainstream coverage. As a licensed relationship counselor, an advocate for survivors, and a woman who believes in healing through honesty, I knew I couldn't ignore this story. This isn't about fame or headlines. This is about the devastating ripple effects of power, silence, and trauma, and how one man's lawsuit just confirmed what many of us already suspected, that what Cassie endured was never isolated, never exaggerated, and far from over. So today, we're going to unpack this new lawsuit, revisit Cassie's past allegations, explore the deeper cultural implications, and most importantly, hold space for healing, insight, and truth. If you're listening to this, you're already part of the Life Points Lounge, our growing Patreon community that values transparency, emotional depth, and collective empowerment. I appreciate you more than you know. Please take a moment to share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, you can access bonus podcast episodes, behind-the-scenes content, coaching resources, and spiritual downloads by subscribing to one of the Patreon tiers. You can also connect with me across all platforms. Visit lifepointswithronda.com. Listen to my podcast on all major streaming apps. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Life Points with Ronda, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook Life Points with Ronda. If you have thoughts, questions, or just need a safe space to be heard, email me at lifepointswithronda@gmail.com. Let's continue the conversation beyond the mic. The new lawsuit and the man behind the claims. Filed quietly in late June 2025 in New York. The new lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs comes from a man identified under the alias Clayton Howard, a former male escort who says he was repeatedly drugged, manipulated, and sexually trafficked at elite parties orchestrated by Diddy over an 8-year span. According to the complaint, Howard alleges he was brought into a lifestyle of glamour and false security, only to be plunged into situations where he was expected to perform sexually under the influence of unknown substances, allegedly injected into him without consent. He claims he was filmed without permission, coerced into sexual acts with celebrities, and, most disturbingly, was forced to terminate a pregnancy, further compounding the trauma of his experience. He is now suing Diddy for civil damages, claiming long-term psychological harm, physical trauma, and spiritual violation. Cassie Ventura's Echo, the blueprint for exposure. If this lawsuit feels eerily familiar, that's because it is. In 2023, Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former partner of 10 years, filed her own civil suit under New York's Adult Survivors Act, alleging a decade-long pattern of sexual abuse, beatings, trafficking, and forced participation in drug-fueled sex parties. She too described freak-offs, unwanted recordings, and being physically brutalized, including a now viral video that shows Diddy violently attacking her in a hotel hallway. Her case was settled in under 24 hours for an estimated $20 million, leading many to believe that it was not an act of justice, but a strategic silencing. But now, her presence looms large again. She is named directly in Clayton Howard's complaint, as he is suing both Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura for alleged sexual exploitation and trauma. The lawsuit contains a number of serious allegations made by Howard against both defendants. Masculinity, consent, and the untold story of male victims. This case really forces us to confront a very uncomfortable truth that men can be victims of sexual coercion, exploitation, and trafficking. And, because of how our culture treats masculinity, those victims are often disbelieved, shamed, or simply erased. When the abuser is a powerful black man like Diddy, who built his empire on charisma, influence, and wealth, the narrative becomes even more tangled. This isn't about bashing anyone's legacy. It's about understanding how trauma shows up when unchecked power is allowed to reign. Male survivors are often told to be grateful for the access, to feel lucky they were chosen, or to suffer in silence out of fear they won't be believed. Clayton Howard's story disrupts that silence. It challenges the toxic definitions of manhood that say you can't be a victim if you're male. It reminds us that abuse knows no gender, and that healing must include every voice, not just the ones that fit neatly into the headlines. The elite, the legal system, and the performance of innocence. Let's talk about the game being played behind the scenes. Despite facing over 66 civil lawsuits, totaling more than $55 million in demands, Diddy continues to deny all allegations and portray himself as the target of an elaborate smear campaign. He's hired top-tier attorneys, PR firms, and bodyguards, not just for protection, but for the curation of a narrative. And for a time, it worked. His fans called it a witch hunt. Industry leaders remained silent. Major platforms still played his music, but public opinion is shifting. With every new revelation, the curtain is pulled back a little more. The surveillance video of him assaulting Cassie made many reevaluate their loyalty. The testimonies of other victims are painting a picture too detailed, too consistent, and too painful to ignore. And in the background of all this, the legal system is doing what it does best: delaying, denying, and detaching from the emotional realities of the people harmed. This isn't just about Diddy, it's about the structure that allowed him to move like this for decades. For the survivors listening, this is not your fault. To every survivor who's listening, whether you're a man, woman, trans, non-binary, or still figuring out how to name your experience, I need you to hear this clearly. This is not your fault. Your story matters. Your pain is valid, and your healing is sacred. The world has taught so many of us to keep secrets in order to survive, to smile when we're dying inside, to protect our abusers for the sake of access, career, money, or safety. But silence will never save you. The longer we protect those who harm us, the longer we delay our own healing. Clayton's courage is a reminder that even after years of silence, you can still reclaim your voice. Cassie's strength reminds us that no amount of time, power, or money can cover the truth forever. And if no one's told you this yet today, I believe you. I see you. And I'm with you. Thank you for holding space with me today in this extended and emotionally intense episode. These conversations are not easy, but they are necessary. Truth is not always glamorous, but it is liberating. And as long as I have a mic and a platform, I will keep using it to tell the stories that matter, protect the voices that need to be heard, and support the healing that our communities so desperately deserve. I invite you to share your thoughts on this episode in the comments, send me a private message, or just sit with the emotions this brings up. Either way, thank you for being part of this journey. This is Life Points with Ronda, and I'll see you in the next sacred conversation. Thank you for watching. If you found value in today's video, I invite you to take your journey even further with my podcast, Life Points with Ronda, where we dive deep into relationships, personal growth, and the wisdom that helps you thrive. Tune in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all major streaming platforms for powerful insights that can transform your life. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more uplifting content like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Stay connected with me on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. Life Points with Ronda. Visit my website at lifepointswithronda.com for exclusive content, coaching, and more. Thank you for your support. Until next time, take care and stay phenomenal.